Welcome to Life Without the Game, everybody. My name is Baron Harris. Here on Life Without the Game, we dive into deep purpose, life lessons, talks, motivation, humor. Here on Life Without the Game, I'm bringing you guys episode 2 with a very special guest. He goes by the name of Bolden. You might know him for all of his talents on the field, on the track, but here we're going to shine light on everything else. So welcome to Life Without the Game, and thank you for tuning in. Happiness with your Vic, welcome to Life Without the Game, bro. Thank you for being on here. Thank you for showing up. I genuinely appreciate that with all due respect. And man, for you coming out your way to be on here and tell everybody who you are.
Thanks for having me.
Man, of course, man. Kind of want to get into like some icebreakers, kind of like ease us in here. If you can just tell us, everybody, who you are a little more further outside of, what you do, of course, but describing where you're from, your background, and, how you grew up and whatnot. We could start off with that, man.
So, like you said, my name is Vic Bolden. I'm from Rancho Cucamonga, California. I'm the oldest of 3. Not too much about me, man. I play sports. I grew up in a sport background. My mom was a athlete. She ran the 100 meters, and my dad was a baseball, football. He did it all as well. So, we grew up in a athletic family, and that's about it.
Man, mom and pops are both big pieces to this. You say your mom is an athlete. How did growing up in that household play into like what you do today and like where you felt you were going? Did you know you were going to be always playing ball, or did you always feel like that was your purpose, or did you feel like that was kind of like something you had to do? You know what I mean?
No, actually, not at all. Growing up, my mom and dad, they didn't want me to play football.
Really?
Yeah. I always wanted to play football, and my mom was like, "You're gonna play tennis. I want you to play. I want you to do tennis. Something that's less
Bolden.
contact." She a mom, so she wanted to make sure that her baby's protected.
Right.
So
and you're the firstborn.
And the firstborn as well. So yeah. So football was not an option for her at first. So it took some convincing. But
I actually was told that your first sport wasn't even football. It was soccer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I started off playing soccer. I played soccer actually my first sport was basketball. So the first sport I ever did was basketball.
Okay.
My dad, I always wanted to just hang around my dad. It had nothing to do with sports at all. I just wanted to be around my pops. Right. And the first sport ended up being Rec City basketball. Yeah.
That was my sport too, though.
Yeah.
Like, for real, I promise you. I got this picture. I'm going to put it up there. But I got this picture of me next to my older brother. His name is Pancho.
Yeah.
Call him Pancho. And it's a picture of me holding the basketball right next to him. And I lived in Hesperia at the time, but we played the Rec City basketball too. My dad was the coach.
Shout out to the Rec.
Man, for real. Them days, man, stingy with the ball. I'm Kobe with the ball, not passing it or nothing. So, but that's jokes. How would you say, like, man, like, coming up in that house? So I know Mr. Bolden, Coach Bolden, he was my track coach. And I know how he was on me when come on, man, stop playing around. Like, come on, like, lock in. Like, was there ever moments where, he was like that with you too, or you were always pretty, like, self-driven and you didn't really have to be told what to do?
Yeah, coming up in the Bolden residence, it wasn't too bad. I think, them being coaches, they get a little knock for being scary.
Yeah.
They real disciplined, but in the house they wasn't like that at all.
Yeah.
It was just simple. We would go outside and play and hang out. We always been a real close-knit family. So it was always going to grandparents' house and aunties and cousins' house and sitting around and playing Bop It.
Yeah.
That was what I remember the most. That's what I love. Sitting around playing Bop It in a circle, playing spoons, stuff like that. So
I ain't gonna fake. My I think growing up for us, we had an Xbox in the house.
Yeah,
I don't really I got 6 brothers and sisters. There's 3 boys, 3 girls. I fall right in the middle.
Yeah.
And growing up in the house, we used to do things like singing contests or like I don't know if Xbox 360. There was this game that you could like sing karaoke on it, and our parents would sit up there and make us have challenges and sing our butts off. I got this video of
I know you can't sing. I know you can't.
No,
sing.
don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Cause I got vocals. I got vocals for real. It got to be the right day though. I got vocals though. But I want to ask you, like, growing up in that environment, like, how was it being the oldest sibling? Cause I know my oldest siblings, like, it was hard I grew up with six brothers and sisters, and you were the oldest of 3. Like, how was that? And were your parents hard on you about that, or like having to set the example?
It was easy, you know. I would say it was easy because I had older cousins, and me being the oldest, you know, I felt like you kind of in the middle. You know, my parents were the sports people in the family, but like we grew up around music too, and you know, all my cousins was real music oriented, and so being the oldest in my house, it was cool, man. I learned from them and took their examples and, you know, enjoy life.
Did y'all ever fight? Like, me and my siblings get into it, bro.
Me and Tori, look, me and Tori used to fight a little bit, but it wasn't nothing like, it was be fighting the remote, fighting over the TV more than anything, you know. I remember we would be in the house and she want to watch Disney Channel and I want to watch ESPN. And Pops had to work, so he wasn't home yet. So, you know, we was battling for that remote. But, yeah.
Man, I used to stand in front of the TV and hide the sensor so they couldn't turn the channel. Comedy. I want to ask you, what is some lessons that you've taken from him that, like, you know, because now you're a Pops, right? And how old is your son now? 5. Now you're a Pops. And how has the things he's raised you on or taught you, you know, stuck with you and that you implement into raising your son?
You know what? I think the biggest lesson I've learned from my Pops is lead by example. He has always told me be a leader, not a follower. And the example he said, he goes out every day, and regardless of how he feels, regardless of what's going on around him, he's going to make sure that he does what it is that he needs to do. And, you know, I make sure that I instill that in my son, you know. It's not what you say, it's what you do most of the time. You know, they as a father, they just need somebody who is present, you know, and you being yourself is all they need. And I think that is something that my dad did a great job of, continues to do a great job of. Yeah.
How do you feel like now that you're a Pops? Like, what, like, has things changed for you? Or like, have you learned a new trait about yourself recently? Or like, is it like, what have you taken from it now being a Pops?
Yeah, I think as a dad now, some of those lessons that they tell you, you experience for yourself. And you start to realize that, you know, life is simple. And it doesn't matter what it is that is going on around you in a sense that, you know, things can be in turmoil, but as a man, you start to realize that the things that you think that are important aren't.
Yeah.
You know, the real important things start to reveal themselves when you're a dad. You know, treating people right, being a good person, you know, just being yourself. You know, sometimes it's hard to be yourself. And you know, I think that is the biggest lesson that I've learned from being a dad, or what I've taken away is being a good person goes way longer than any monetary value or any goal that you set. Because when you get those things that you set out for yourself, you know, God is not going to put you in a place that you're not ready for. And you know, everything that you experience in life is a decision for you to make. You could make the decision to let it break you, or you can make the decision to overcome it. And I think that for me, that is the biggest takeaway is the little things, the details.
And that like always like reminds me of like one thing my pops, he tells me like a good name is worth more than gold. And, you know, I think what you just said right there in itself, like just doing the right thing when nobody's looking, but your son is looking obviously, but doing the right thing and being a good person goes such a long way versus anything else you could do. And I think that for me, listening to what you're saying, like I'm not gonna say I can't wait, because I can wait, but one of my goals is to be an old head, like, and be a father, like, and be a great father. And listening to how you speak, like I knew you before you were a father, and like seeing you grow up in high school, you set the example even for us. So you were already doing that. So I can only imagine what Zay is finna get from you. You know what I mean? And I know you're doing the right thing, and you always have been, bro. So like I know he's in good hands and good shape. You know what I mean? Like, and I know you're doing the right thing, because the goal is always to be better than our parents, right? Like, you know, and you got to be better than Coach Bolden, and Coach Bolden has done a pretty well off job, if you ask me. You know what I mean? So I know like you giving the best and ultimate all of your all to Zay. You know what I mean? So
yeah, man. And it's funny that you say that, because you want to be better off, and that is something that it takes time to understand. You know, what that means. What is better?
Yeah.
And that changes as a dad. You know, for me, what better means before I was a dad would look way different than what it is now.
Yeah.
And I think that it's such a having children is such a blessing, and having great people around you is such a blessing. But it takes a village. It's not just what you do as a father, but you know, those good character moments that you instill in your kids, allow them to soak the village around them. You know, those lessons are sometimes go over your head, but sometimes they don't. And it takes good people to catch that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I want to tie into like with the upbringing you have had in your household, and you know, the direction everybody has been in, like where is the direction? Do you think you would push your son to play ball, or do you think you would kind of just back off and like let him do what he wants to do based off your experiences and just even the experiences in the household that you had growing up surrounding sports? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would definitely encourage my son to do sports. You know, sports is an opportunity for kids to connect. I think that is a common ground in today's world. You know, the opportunity to compete with one another. I think it's a great benefit. And you know, I not necessarily say specifically what sport or try to push them towards any sport, but I definitely will encourage them to do sports. Now, it's not the end all be all at all either, though.
Right.
So, you know, his mom is a talented person, and you know, I think we both want the best for him, and sports is just an avenue to shine the light on the great person that he is.
Right.
Correct.
What advice would you give to someone who feels lost without their career or their title of what they do?
Give yourself grace in regards to that. There's so many different avenues that you can move into. Now, for me, being so purposely driven on what it is I set out for myself to do, that has been a tough thing for me to continue to do or give myself the opportunity to you know, have a different step in that process.
Right.
But if I can give advice to somebody who's struggling with that, I would say to be graceful and continue to work towards it. Because if you choose to let the anxiety or the pressure of the unknown make you panic or make you feel a certain type of way, that choice is the choice you make, and you can choose to allow it to break you, or you can choose to allow it to fuel you for the
Right.
next thing. So
Right.
be comfortable being uncomfortable, and be graceful for if it doesn't look right the first
Right.
time. You know, because if you continue to work at it, I promise you, you'll be such a great person from that point on.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
And other than let God be the light on you, and have faith in the fact that He is going to put you in a position to put yourself in a better position.
What did you went to Oregon State?
Yeah.
Had an amazing career there. Was balling out.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get into the numbers, but y'all can look those up for yourself. But what was your major there? And
Public health.
Public health.
Yeah.
Was that something you wanted to do, or like what was your mind when you first went to college?
My mind was business when I first went to college, and public health was something that I transitioned to, and it definitely opened my eyes to what it is that's important,
Right.
And how important it is for us to take ownership of our health. You know, we can't let the today's society and the fast-paced living take over what it is that, what's really important. And public health definitely helped me take advantage of or take ownership of
Right.
my health. Yeah.
It's so funny you say that, because after I got done playing sports, you know how hard it was for me to stay active?
Yeah.
Like, I never really knew how hard that is. Like, and I can see like where people's days get so busy where if you're not like an athlete and you're constantly working out, or working on your body or watching or eating,
Yeah.
how much that can slip away from you and slip
Yeah.
underneath you. And so me being an athlete and realizing just thinking back how much I would be running,
Yeah.
lifting, eating, and then like also a fast metabolism, burning all that.
Yeah.
Like, I realized how hard it is to maintain that level of workout and that level, and it doesn't have to be that level, but
Yeah.
just to stay active,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And not, because it doesn't have to be that level, but you're so used to that you wanted to maintain that level. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so for me, it was just like, dang, I realized how hard it was to stay active and eat proper, and, still go work out after I eat or work out before, and just build that regimen and include it in my day. And I've gotten a lot better at it now,
Yeah.
which I'm very like proud of myself, because now, like, I feel like for me being out of sports for so long, like, I'm finally not making it a chore, like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
making it something I enjoy to do.
Exactly.
Getting up 6 a.m. and going to hit it with my trainer in
Yeah.
the gym, and like actually not really we all want results, but like just knowing you're working towards something,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's what fuels us. Like, you have a goal, and if you don't see that goal, then you keep working towards that goal. And I just think it's funny you say that, because it's tough, but when you finally understand that, like I said, health is real wealth, that you want to make it, not a chore, but a priority to really, stay on top of it and be able to, so we can
enjoy the family.
and so we can like live to see, your son's sons, you know what I mean? Like, that's the goal, right? So, I mean, I just think, let me ask you this. If you didn't do what you do now, right, and you weren't in the profession you are in now, let's say an alternate reality, like, what would you do? Like, in what career, or like, what would your life look like? What would you do?
Definitely something that's giving back to people. I really enjoy shining the light on people and making other people feel seen. And I think, if sports wasn't in the cards for me, I definitely wanted to make sure that I was doing something that makes an impact on other people's lives. Whether that be in some sort of service industry, cooking, firefighting, or even a coach.
If you could choose one.
Yeah. If I could choose one.
Like, the career is open and you have the chance to exceed to the highest limit of that career, what would it be? You could be a chef, teacher, professor, firefighter, coach. Like, what would it be for you? Or you could be like a social worker too, like a doctor or something, whatever.
I think for me, if I had to pinpoint one, a chef would be. I think I'd be a good chef. You know.
Are you a good chef now?
Yeah, I could cook a little something. Cook a little something.
What you cooking, man?
Depends on the day.
Nah,
depends on the day.
Chopped cheese.
You gotta come over to the house,
cheese.
man. You gotta come to the house and see what I got.
You ain't
see what
cooking,
I got
man,
going.
For real. I ain't gonna fake. I make a bomb enchilada.
Do you?
I got reviews on it.
Do you?
I got credited people to say it's bomb, and I can whip it up for you too, bro. But it's the real deal. Green enchilada, green chicken enchiladas.
Okay.
Bomb.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the spot every time, and I make the guacamole from scratch.
Ooh.
Player from scratch too. What is your go-to meal?
Go-to meal
that you whip up or you like?
Pancakes.
Pancakes.
Yeah. Since my mom or dad could tell you, anybody could tell you, my favorite thing growing up, I keep it simple, man. Pancakes was always my go-to.
Yeah. You ain't got no size, eggs, nothing. Just
look, if I don't have it, I don't have it. If I got the pancakes, we good.
For sure. Are just plain, or you throwing fruit, strawberries, blueberries, anything? Blueberry pancakes. My man's keeping it plain and simple.
You know what I mean? Straight to the point.
Simplicity, ain't it?
Straight
Come on now. What's your favorite meal of the day?
Favorite meal of the day?
Or like breakfast, lunch, dinner?
I'm a breakfast guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously pancakes is my favorite, but yeah, breakfast.
I'm a breakfast guy too. I look forward to breakfast every morning.
Yeah.
That's one thing I just started going to this place called it's like a what is it called? It's like a meal prep service. It's right there in Upland. But I just started going there, and I really go there just to meal prep my breakfast. Protein pancakes, turkey sausage. I'll do like tri-tip in there and like 2 egg bites. But I look forward to breakfast every morning because it starts my day. I get up early and I got to have it off the...
You look like an early bird type of guy.
Yeah, I'm the one that gets the bird, though.
Okay.
I'm not getting the worm.
Okay.
I'm getting the bird, and the bird is getting the worm if he has a chance. You know what I mean? But what do you feel is like the worst or the best advice you've received? You could give either or you could give both.
The best advice I've ever received is listen. That was from my mom. Listening is something that is different for everybody. I would say. I wouldn't say that everybody gets it at the same time, or everybody understands the value of it in the same way. But as a man and as a person who's a role model to other people, it's easy to not listen or to, be quick to tell somebody what it is that they need to hear. But listening is the best advice that I've received.
How do you... Listening for me is something I'm working on and I'm practicing. What would you say to me or anybody else? How do you practice listening? Like, obviously not talking, but like, what is something you know what I mean? How do you actively listen? Because some people, boy, I'll tell you, like, you talk to them and they just want to give you a response instead of like an answer. I feel that's different. Like, a response is just a rebuttal or something quick, that they already thinking about, while you're speaking. Like, what goes into it for you? Like, how did you work on listening? Because obviously if your mom told you that advice, you had to start practicing, working on it. How did you do that?
It changed for me. Throughout the years, listening looked different. And the best advice I can give you is grace. Give yourself grace when it comes to listening. Don't be so hard on yourself in regards to trying to be perfect at it every time, or looking for the reaction that you expect the other person to have. You got to give yourself grace and give the person you're listening to grace. And it goes a long way.
Something that was like, I love that you say that, because I think like I'm very hard on myself, as we are. We are all our biggest critics ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And something for me that I felt like, I wouldn't say I struggle with, but that I always keep in mind is just like not being, how would I say this? I want to say like not being so, having empathy and sympathy, right? Like not being so much about yourself, being able to really look from a different perspective. Because a lot of time when we're listening, it's like we're either in an argument or a debate or, somebody's venting. Like, how did you work on having that? Not work on, but like, did you always have the empathy or sympathy that comes with listening, or did you have to develop that?
Life developed that for me. Going through different types of experiences through life helped me listen.
Yeah.
You know, it started in the classroom as a kid. It started on the field, listening to our coaches,
Right.
and listening to our parents. Now being a father, listening to your kids.
How was that?
It changes every day. You know, listening to your kids goes a long way because they are such sponges, and they are always moving around, and they keep you on your toes. They keep you young, keep me young.
Right.
And listening to my kids allowed for me to develop that grace and patience.
Yeah.
More than anything that you would, and I wouldn't say more, but it impacted me more to develop it even more, or make it such a priority for me to make sure that I'm doing it better.
Right.
And I'm blessed for that.
I think that's something that, like you said, life is gonna have to continue to teach me, and I work on it. Like, and I actively, like, you know, because that's something that's something that's on the pivotal front of my mind of, like, all right, make sure I'm listening, you know, and make sure I'm being able to understand what somebody's feeling, where they're coming from, and not just thinking about myself and what I got to say. I want to ask you, what does, like, purpose mean to you?
For me, purpose is walking in your light. Being a light to others is what I would say purpose means. I wouldn't necessarily say purpose means that, but that's what I'm being purposeful for.
Right.
Or being actively purposeful to try to do is be a light to other people.
Right.
And that doesn't look the same every day.
Yeah. Facts.
And there's a something in me that I'm trying to continue to reach to. Purpose is an ongoing thing.
Right.
It doesn't. I wouldn't say it stops, or it's one specific
thing that you can accomplish.
Thing that I can accomplish. It is something that you have to continue to grow towards, and be patient at finding it.
Yeah.
And I think God is the center of that as well.
Yeah. For real.
And he is. There's nothing that you can do to change his love for you.
Right.
You know, and I think that for me, actively trying to be a better person is my purpose.
Right. And I feel like you saying that, like, just even made me think right now, like, that's kind of how it feels like walking with the Lord. Like, it's like an ongoing thing of you trying to be better, not just for yourself, but more importantly for others and his kingdom. It's an everyday goal, I guess you can say, to walk within. You know, it's not just something that once you get your purpose, that's that. You know, it's something that, like you said, is an everyday working, something you can work towards or attain, and, you know, not attain, but just work to help others, like you say. So it's just funny you said, because that literally is how it feels when you walk with God. It's like, dang, like you're not there yet, but it's something you always working towards every day, you know?
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly when you say to help people get to his kingdom, it changes from when you were born, your purpose looks different from now.
Do you think that, you know, obviously, like you said, like from when you were born to now, like that changes.
Yeah.
And even probably 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that still changes. Like you're constantly evolving every day.
Yeah.
Do you think your future self or your younger self would thank you for where you are right now and what you're doing today?
Yeah. I think my future self would, or my younger self wouldn't even imagine where I am in the future in regards to what it is I said I was going to do, and having the opportunity to do those things. And now sitting in these seats, what I find important or my purpose is not what I expected.
Right.
And if I could write a letter to my future self, is continue to be just as hungry as you were when you were a child.
Yeah.
And continue to open your eyes in regards to what you think is important. Because you can get a lesson or you can get advice from anywhere, from the biggest to the smallest.
You hit it like spot on. You know what I mean? Because it's never something you could be just stagnant in.
Yeah.
And it's never something that you're just gonna be comfortable in. Like I've learned that you have to be uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable with the being uncomfortable. And I think that those moments in itself continue, and like life is like you could think like a spiral. And this is what one of my good friends out in Houston, he's a chef. His name is Nyrone, and he explained it pretty well. Where he was like, think of a line going through that spiral. It's like no matter what, like the start of that spiral is how your life has started, and every time you hit that line, though, it's always you can say failure, you can say trial, you can say disappointment, you can say heartache, you can say whatever it is that life brings and throws at you, that curveball. And once you hit it, it kind of puts you in a stump. But as you continue to go on, you grow from that, and you become much bigger than that, and you learn so much more to where, like you said, like we talked about, you're not where you started to where you are now, and even 10 years from now, it's not going to be the same, and you're going to continue to grow to be somebody greater than you are today, and being able to help. Like, and I think as you look back on where you started and to where you are now, so many people you've helped. Even if you can just help one person, that's it, right? But I think that as we go on through this life, there's somebody who remembers you for something that you've helped them with, that you might not even be thinking about right now, but they appreciate still to this day. And it was like that time we was at church a couple weeks ago, and you helped the teacher from our school. Yeah. She's like, hey, you remember
Miss Collins?
Miss Collins. She was like, hey, you remember when you helped, me and my family move? And you was like, really? You was like, I don't remember that, but like little things like that, you know what I mean? And I don't know, man. That's what I feel like we're supposed to be doing and walking in, you know what I mean, and shining light on, and that's why I wanted to create this, is to help people see more of like, man, we don't care about what you doing on the stage. Like, yeah, it's cool, it's dope, right? And it's appreciated, and people acknowledge that and honor the things that were done. But I think who you are is more important than anything, you know what I mean? And let's just say if 10 years down the line, or if you can live your life right now and money wasn't a factor, or responsibility wasn't a factor, like, what would you be doing?
Continuing to stay faithful in that line of what it is I set it out for myself to do in regards to being purposely passionate about being a light to other people and shining the light on other people.
Yeah.
And having faith in that. Faith is the foundation
to
that.
How is that? For people who may have it or may not have it, like how do you deal with faith? Like, and I know in the word it talks about it has to be the size of a mustard seed, but is that something you struggle with having sometimes, or like is it just like, nah, I got that faith, like it's unwavering? Like, how is it for you?
I would say I don't want to dim myself and say that I struggle with that, because
you're human, though.
I'm human.
You're human, like we all are.
And like you said, my faith hasn't wavered, and I'm faithfully knowing that God, whatever my life brings to me, I know that it's for a reason. Right. And I'm shining the light on his kingdom.
And God will use that.
Yeah.
All together.
And when we say we go through hardship and we go through tough times, I don't necessarily look, me personally, I don't necessarily look at it in that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, though, I would say my unwavering faith in those tough times allow me to sit in those moments.
Yeah.
And be able to understand that these moments help me be a better person for others.
Right.
It is tough, but it's so comforting in the fact that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And having that mindset of being comfortable in the fact, like you said, being comfortable and being uncomfortable sometimes starts with faith.
Yeah.
And
Facts. And I think that's man, for real, because that's how God works, man. Like, God will sit up there and put you in between a rock and a hard place to where all you have left is faith. And that's all you can really use is your faith to get you out of the situation, or to get you out of the hard times, or to get you through. Like, sometimes it's just like your faith is the only thing that will allow you to continue to go for it. You know what I mean? Or to continue to walk on water. You know what I mean? In those tough situations. So I want to spin before we get up out of here. I want to ask you, we listen, but we don't judge.
Yeah.
What is your we listen, but we don't judge?
We listen, but we don't judge.
And I'll go first, though.
Go ahead.
My we listen and we don't judge is, and I don't even know if I'm doing this the right way, but socks need to be worn in the airport. I ain't gonna fake, like, the walking in the airport and you going through TSA barefoot is many. It's crazy. That's a health hazard problem. You know, you probably spreading something doing that. Not good, because I know where my bottom of the shoes been. Y'all walking in the airport with no shoes on is a little crazy. But that's my we listen, we don't judge. Everybody should wear socks and shoes in the airport. If you going through TSA and got to take your stuff off, because I ain't going for the barefoot. That's a little crazy to me.
We listen and we don't judge. My listen and we don't judge is the AC. It is okay to turn the AC on in the house.
Yeah.
Pops, it is okay to turn the AC on in the house.
Hey, and that gotta be the sacrifice. Like, I'm not going for nothing else, bro. Listen, moms and pops, because my moms and pops the same way. Listen, bro, if it is, even at night, because I'm somebody who sleep in the cold. I ain't gonna fake. I'm somebody who can. It got to be 65 degrees minimum when I sleep, and nothing else gonna work. I don't care nothing about any other bill. That is the bill that is allowed to be flexible. It can go up, it can go down, like.
The AC can come on, man. It can come on.
For a couple of hours. Not no 5 minutes. Oh, run it for 5 minutes, close all the windows and doors and let it cool down a little bit, then cut it off. Nah, we ain't going for that. Let it kick on for a good hour or two, you know what I mean? Like, we ain't doing no 5 minutes and, don't keep that AC bill high. Like, I know it's high. It's hot in here, you know what I mean? I needed to sleep at night. Man, that's hilarious. Man, but bro, I appreciate you for coming on, man, and I appreciate you for, man, taking the time out of your day to really allow people to hear who you are and, you know, just shine light on your purpose in this life and, like, in the great person that you are, you know what I mean? And not just, we see all the glitz and glamours, we see, you know, what you allow us to see and what the articles put out, but I think you're so much more of a greater person than the things you do, so I just wanted to have you on here and shine light on that, bro. So I appreciate you for coming on, too.
Thanks for having me.
Nah, for sure, bro. My dog. Love. Thank you guys for tuning in to Life Without the Game podcast. Me being your host, Baron Harris. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and listening to great conversation, a lot deeper than surface level things and just greater than the stage that people are on. So I want to thank my guest, Vic Bolden, for coming out and being on this podcast as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening to it. If you're out there listening and watching, like, comment, subscribe, and, man, be ready for the next episode. Thank you, guys.